Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a Dana Ghoulish, I'm sure he's never heard that one before, edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Yeah.
Spooky.
All right,
The mood
Halloween.
is out. Halloween. It's the tis
Halloween.
the
season.
year. Oh
Tis
my
the
God! Don't
season,
you just
folks.
love it? I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
It's certainly my favorite holiday.
Absolutely.
And-
Me too.
Speaking of holidays, who are you, sir, Mr. Holiday?
All right, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, you know the title of this thing. We are going to celebrate our favorite holiday, Halloween. You know, it's going to be more than just a celebration. It's going to be an event. It's going to be wild. It's going to be offbeat. And there will be, title of the show, Halloween Hijinks.
Halloween hijinks.
Halloween Hijinks.
It's like an anything goes Halloween.
Anything goes. You know,
That's
it's
right.
all the
Candy,
crazy things that we love.
costumes, toys, and we've got a great person to help us with this Halloween
my.
special.
Oh, yes, yes. Our guest for this episode is someone who is almost Halloween incarnate. He's a brilliant comedian, writer, and actor who has lent his talents to such Monster Party favorites as The Simpsons, Super Adventure Team, and a little show that he created and starred in called Stan Against Evil. Woohoo!
Yes.
Love it.
He's also a personal friend of America's #1 talk show host, Dr. Z.
Oh, I love watching him. Love
so
him.
good. Please welcome back my dear friend and mentor, Dana Gould.
What a
Dana Gould.
you.
Dana Gould.
I'm also, that was very kind. When you said America's favorite I was like, who is he? Who is he talking about? The good doctor.
That's Sajak.
And then I'm also in the film Tales of Halloween.
That's right, yes.
That's a great anthology. I like that.
And
film.
I'm in another great anthology, Southbound.
Southbound is
Yes.
also wonderful. Yes.
I had a little anthology run there for a while.
Yep.
Well, and I'm
Wow.
glad that you brought that up because I know that in episodes like this, we bounce around our favorite Halloween movies. And I have a particular love for the anthology film. I think it works very well for Halloween.
Yeah.
Because it's like the film version of someone gathering you around the campfire and telling you scary stories.
Yeah, well put. Well put.
Some of my favorites are, there was a little studio called Amicus.
That sounds
Oh,
like
yes.
you're going there.
And Amicus, they did really, I think they were the pinnacle. I loved most of their films, and I have a couple favorites. Tales from the Crypt, I know a lot of younger viewers will remember the TV show based on the famous EC comic book. But Amicus did a film version, 5 stories. It was followed up by Vault of Horror, which was another anthology film based on an EC comic. And they did a whole bunch of them, so many. And I just love them. And it's one of those things where I feel like you could do a really enjoyable marathon of that because it wouldn't feel like a marathon. It would just, it's like the single that would constantly change each 15 minutes.
Yes. Oh, what a great idea. Someone's got to do that.
Let's do that now.
No, it's like, like when Sean did his Planet of the Apes thing where he showed all the films. We should do one of these, just a bunch of these anthologies, one after the other. That would be fun.
Tales from the Crypt was 1972, but before that in the 60s, the run started, I guess you would say, with Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, and then Torture Garden, The House That Dripped Blood. You had Tales from the Crypt, Asylum with Robert Bloch stories, Vault of Horror, From Beyond the Grave, which is one that a lot of people don't always bring up.
Yeah, that's
I
a good
think
one.
is lovely. Yeah.
And
was Amicus an Italian?
No, they were English.
British. Yeah,
Okay, but they were like
Paxton.
sub Hammer. They were.
Yeah, they were like Hammer's rival.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yes.
Right.
But they were like packed with great British actors, like all those great character actors.
Well,
so
sure.
good.
Yeah. I mean, Ralph Richardson is in Tales from the Crypt. So
Yeah. I mean, he's a crypt keeper.
yeah.
Yes.
Ralph, remember the days when Ralph Richardson was the crypt keeper?
Yeah. but like even like today, they're still putting out great ones. And have you guys seen? My wife and I just watched one recently from 2019 that I really enjoyed called The Mortuary Collection. Do you guys know this one?
No.
It's Clancy Brown as a mortician and some.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, it's great. And some woman kind of runs into the place and she's looking for a job. The wraparound story with Clancy Brown and the woman is kind of a little bit Tim Burton-esque, but then the segments themselves are great and gruesome and crazy, and it's really worth checking out. Yeah, The Mortuary Collection, 2019. The writer-director was Ryan Spindell. I highly recommend it. It's one I kind of just discovered.
Has Clancy done your show?
I'd love to have him.
My entire body would explode like a piñata if we could have him on the show.
He's my neighbor.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
Love him.
Here's the weird. Clancy's a great dude. And I used to drive his son is my daughter's age, and I used to drive them both to school.
Oh, wow.
And there were mornings where I was first thing in the morning, you hear from over the fence, Clancy Brown going, "Brother Gould, are you driving today?"
Nice.
He is the definitive Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super great guy. Super.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gene Hackman, but no, it's Clancy Brown.
Clancy's a super great dude.
We'd love to have him.
Yeah. We love Mortuary Collection.
We won't keep him on too long, and he can. I understand these things.
I think he'd be happy to do it.
Cool.
Fantastic. We'll follow up on this. But
Yes. for sure.
But now, Dana, as I said, I feel you are in a way Halloween incarnate because you just love it so much to the point where you get me excited again about it. Like you go to all the mazes
I do.
and a lot of different events, and
I got to a point when because I remember I was going through some stuff, and I found an advertisement for a gig that I once did stand up in Minneapolis on Halloween.
What? That's wild.
And I was thinking, like, there was a time in my life, I think it was 96, where I cared so little. Like, I would have taken a gig. Yeah, I'll do the gig. I don't care. Or I think I did it the night before, and then I flew in on Halloween. That's what it was. I flew in Halloween. And now I look back, like, I can't even conceive of that. Because
me too.
For me, it starts in mid-September, early September.
Yeah.
And I do as much as I can. It's just it's my favorite time of year. I love everything about it. And I don't want to miss anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I have all of these Halloween traditions that I've self-imposed upon myself. Like my podcast episode, the Dana Gould Hour podcast, my Halloween episode is always like a Hungarian meal. It's just like such a it kills you. This year it's a 3 hour and 40 minute.
Wow.
Oh my God. It's like Herman Woke wrote it. And then I usually I host a screening of Ed Wood, which I
right, yeah,
nice.
And then I do Plan 9 from Outer Space live, which as of this recording are doing tomorrow night at
awesome. Okay,
Largo in Los Angeles. So yeah, there are certain things that I have to, like, boxes that I have to check for myself and just make sure I do the most. But it's also, I read something today that really summed it up well. They said, like, I don't want Halloween to ever come. I just want it to be October all the time.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, the season.
That's what it is. It's the season, and then there's that great description that Ray Bradbury wrote about what October felt like. I forget what I might have the book right over there, but just about the air is cold and you smell burning leaves and
right.
And it's just it's like anything else. I mean, it's no different than I know, people love the summer, or it's whatever you like. A lot of
Right.
people they want to smell coconut oil and feel sand. It's whatever
Yeah.
works for you. One isn't better than the other. Except I don't like people whose favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
Hey, that's weird. That's really weird.
They have a mental disorder. But
You can eat
well.
turkey anytime, like that's
Right.
that's my advice. It's like,
But it's a family affair. It's a
I-
family.
yet another reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I rest my case. You're
Exactly.
Okay,
But I know what you mean, Dana, because like when we were kids, Halloween, it's the season, the leaves falling and the turning of the season, and you think of Ben Cooper masks and candy and late night horror hosts and movies.
All of that stuff.
It's all
And I was thinking about those Ben Cooper masks. I have a couple, and I forget the name of the company, Matt, you might know it. They have action figures now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
NECA.
NECA.
And Super 7. That's the funny thing.
there's like
Yes.
a Ben Cooper Renaissance.
Totally. Because
Yeah.
the funny thing is, about 2.5 years ago, I started buying these figures. They were Mego-sized figures from an Alexander Jeffnick from BKC Toys. And he was hand making these, and they were total Ben Cooper costumes. And they were beautifully done. Then
Right.
another, but then he didn't have like a big company. It's like he's doing it himself. Then
Right.
another guy, I think it was Brent Dahl, started.
Brent's
something
dolls,
like that.
yeah.
Brent's
Yes,
dolls.
yes.
And then it's like you have NECA who capitalized on this, and they're made I guess they're about 5 or 6 inch figures,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
costumes, they're great. The little
Beautiful,
masks
yeah.
are great.
I wish I had some.
They're brilliant.
The funny thing is, they did a first series. They did like
They sold out
creature-
immediately.
immediately. And I'm so glad I jumped on it right away. There was a creature, a Frankenstein, a devil, a skeleton, and a mummy.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's supposed to go for like $20 a piece, so you could get a whole set. Well, the sets went so fast that
Yeah.
now they're selling on eBay for a
Yeah.
ton of money. And so, of
Yes.
course, they came out with a series 2 and a series 3. And the thing I love is their series 3 has the little alien, the
Yes.
first alien
Yeah.
Ben Cooper
The
costume,
greatest
which is
one.
That's the one I am getting. Like that,
I-
I bought that set just for that figure.
And the series 3 has the vampire girl,
Yeah. I love that.
which is a genuinely scary looking mask.
Yeah,
It is-
I agree.
had little glow in the dark dots on it. Because I actually have the original
Wow.
that I got
Wow.
well, because it was labeled as Vampira, so it's part of my exhausted.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
And it does look like her on the sort of the apron, but I wanted them to make them for years, and I kept writing them going, NECA, please, and finally they agreed to do it.
Wow. So it's you.
And they've sold out so fast. My understanding is this third set, the third series, is supposed to be sold in Walmart. So I think they're going to make a ton more. And then if that's the case, maybe they'll make more. But the funny thing about Super 7, if you look at what they did, they're trying to capitalize on that whole, Ben Cooper stuff. But the only one that's really a Ben Cooper one is the Snoopy. The Snoopy costume, which the owner of Super 7, that he had that as a kid. But if you look at
did they have the Snoopy one too in the Super 7 series?
Just in Super 7, okay?
Okay.
But the funny thing is, if you look at the Frankenstein, the Dracula, the Bride, they are Ben Cooper-like. They're
Right.
not the actual.
okay.
And if you think about this, it's brilliant, because maybe they paid a licensing fee for the Charles Schultz or the Snoopy, but the others, hey, they're Ben Cooper-like or Collegeville-like Halloween costumes, and they look great. But even the creature one they have, that's not the creature costume was in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. It's like their own version. So, but it's the cheapest one that you could get.
Yeah, it's still cool though.
I have a photo of me in the Frankenstein
Nice.
outfit.
That's the one I want too, because I had it.
And they had that's in the NECA series.
Yes.
And then I bought it again. I bought it on eBay. But what is interesting about it that when I finally took it out of the box and had it, what was crazy was you put on the mask, and then the first thing you do is stick your tongue
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In the mouth.
Yep.
Yeah.
and then get it sliced open by
Yes.
that razor blade of plastic.
That's right. And it's blood and it's all
Which,
cool.
Yeah.
which works well if you're the mummy.
Yeah.
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 Really.
But Dana,
And then I just remember I remember the mask being like, after a bit, there's all this like snot and saliva. On the
Because
And it's
breathing,
cold.
you're
yeah, and
you're-
it's
it's
cold.
cold.
It's
Right.
freezing cold.
Yeah, it's freezing cold. Whatever that mask is made out of, you're
Yeah.
getting those fumes very
Yeah.
strong. And then you have a pinhole to breathe through,
Right.
And so you're just like,
It's a very unique experience.
a very unique experience. Yes.
But Dana, speaking of Vampira, I assume that you're very happy to finally see officially licensed figures of Vampire, Big Super 7 and
right.
NECA.
Yeah, it's. I think I have this. I have one here. Hang on a moment. There's a really good one that came out that's a little that's larger. That they did like Sven Gulli and Vampire.
Yes, that was the
Oh, right,
NECA's
yeah.
Toonie
Yeah.
Terrors.
Yeah,
Toonie
those are,
Terrors.
Yes,
those,
yes,
the
yes,
Toonie
yes.
Terrors are great.
Yeah.
And then there's this one that I get them all sent. Yeah, then the Super 7 one.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
And-
they're so
and-
cool.
I get them sent to me.
and for listeners who are not familiar, Dana actually knew the
Yes,
woman who
yes.
played Vampire.
Mila
Elliot Nurmi, yes.
If you look at her face, boy,
That's good.
That's
a
really
woman-
good.
That's an angry woman moving out of my apartment.
And actually, Super 7 put out two versions. There's the black and white Plan 9, and there was like the regular color Vampira one. too,
Yeah, I
think.
got the
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I remember the story, Dana, where you said you helped her move by going to Halloween Town.
Well, that's how I met. So I'd known her for a long time.
Wow.
And she needed to move. So I went to, and I was working at the time at The Simpsons, and I had a baby at home. So time was the one thing I did not really have.
Yeah.
And so I went to Halloween Town, and there was a Vampira T-shirt on the wall. And I walked up to the counter and I pointed to the shirt and I said, "Do you know anybody that I could pay to help me find the woman on that T-shirt an apartment?" And the woman at the counter went, "Yes." As if my coming was predicted in their ancient texts. And that is how I met my very good friend, Matt Montgomery, who is a really good friend of mine, who was Rob Zombie's bassist for years.
Oh,
wow.
His professional name was Piggy Demon, and now he's with another band, I think. But, he
Nice.
named his daughter Mila. We all became friends.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's awesome.
beautiful.
That's so cool.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, no, I mean, I knew her really. It's funny. I talk about the movie Ed Wood, which I really loved. And then I didn't meet her until after the movie. I did a documentary on horror movie hosts for the Sci-Fi Channel. And through my friend Carol Hernandez, who worked at Hollywood Book and Poster, she knew her. And I passed on and Carol is Gilbert Hernandez's wife, Gilbert, who
Oh,
wrote the
really?
comic book Love and Rockets. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so, long story longer, I wrote her a letter. She gave it back to Carol, and we communicated. I was able to interview her for this documentary.
Wow.
And then, I wrote her a she didn't have a phone at the time. I wrote her a thank you letter. She responded. I took her to lunch. And then I just started taking her to lunch. It started off as once a month and became once a week. And then, I knew her for 18 years, but, eventually I was just, as I like to say, I was her ambassador to reality. She didn't have any, she didn't have any children, and she got divorced in 1954,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
and she knew a lot of people, but not a lot of people had the means available to help her in the way she needed to be helped.
Okay.
Right.
And I was very happy to do that. As it turns out, she does have a son that she had in the early 50s and gave up for adoption. And
Oh, wow.
he was found via 23andMe, and he's a retired lawyer who lives in Vermont.
Huh.
And I've spoken to him on the phone, and he's very nice and painfully normal. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that
not in a bad way.
I don't mean that in a negative way at all.
Right.
Like,
No, but
I
Dana,
just like, thank you
That's
so much
great.
for being so kind to my mom. My God.
Dana, did she ever get the chance to go do autograph shows?
Oh yeah, I used to
Because
take
she
her.
is-
I used to take her to the Beverly Garland and set her up at a table.
Yeah,
And I
nice.
remember one year they set her up next to Gary Busey.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Whereas I called him that day Gary Drug Abusey, and Milo at one point, and he was and Milo at one point called me over, and she was like this, and I go over and she says with a big smile, "Get me the but she kind of invented the goth kind of look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And whenever she would see like a goth chick on the street when we were driving, she would just say, "There she goes. There she is. There she is." She would see them all as vampire. There she is. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Well,
absolutely ahead of her time for sure.
I would say it's between her and Dave Vanian from The Damned.
Yeah.
That's where goth came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Dana, when she did public appearances and autograph shows, did she try to look the part, or was she just looking like
she
Dana?
was by that time she was just a sweet elderly woman.
Right.
But you could absolutely, like, there was no question it was her.
Right.
You can't hide those cheekbones.
Yeah.
And
There's
that waist. My goodness.
Well, that
There's-
was not the same.
There's one of the most the famous
The waist was a memory, to be sure.
one of the famous photos of her, which I think my favorite photo of her is she's in a car parked and there's a little girl on the sidewalk, and she's like
I
kind
have
of like,
that photo in a frame in my
and
home.
she's like, kind of waving to the girl, and the girl's just in wonder, like not afraid at all, and just in wonder of her. It's such a
The
great
girls
photo.
it's two little girls with their mom getting an autograph. And she probably says, I'm sure it was something to the effect of like, are you in the Girl Scouts? And the girl goes, yes. And she would go, why are you in the Girl Scouts? Like, that's the interesting thing. I mean, she was like a punk.
Yeah. That's
25
so cool.
years before punk.
Right.
Wow.
Her
That's
attitude was, and the reason that she had the whole imbroglio with Elvira had nothing to do with her. It was KHJ. KHJ hired her to supervise a reboot of the Vampira show for KHJ. And she said, and I know this because I have all the court documents.
Wow.
And if you have a hard time sleeping, I'll lend them to you and they'll put you right out. What happened was they said, and this is what happened. You help us reboot this. You'll get a producer credit. You'll get a fee. And she said, I will do it provided I retain ownership of the character. And they said, no problem. And she did it with them. And literally on the day of the taping, and she did not want Cassandra Peterson. She wanted Lola Falana.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. But they ended up going with Cassandra, who's a very, groundling and, very talented. And the day of the taping, in the morning, they said, we can't tape until you sign this. And she looked at the contract, and in the contract, it had her ceding ownership of the character to the station.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she said, like, this is not the character. And they go, oh, see you later then. And so she walked off. That's when it went from the Vampira show to the Elvira show.
Oh my gosh.
The day of the taping. And the character's different.
Yeah.
I don't have any grudge against Cassandra Peterson. Milo did. But,
Wow. Yeah, I can see that though.
She's an actress taking a gig.
Right.
I don't think Milo was shy about her wanting someone else for it. And I would be surprised if that sort of fed into... I'm projecting here, but it was just, if I was Cassandra Peterson, I might have gone like, well, see you later, lady. It's hard to blame anybody for making a living.
Well, right. But horror hosts have been brought up as an essential part of Halloween, which I would agree.
Sure.
Especially for us. So is there an argument for her being the first horror host?
There's no argument. She was.
Okay.
Yeah. She was the first horror host in LA in 1954 and 55. And then it was a year or two later that the Shock Theater package was nationally syndicated.
Okay.
And that's when you had people like Zachary. And I
Right.
think Zachary was probably the first, I was going to say the first nationally known, but Milo was. I mean, Milo was only on she was a local show in LA, but was written up in Life magazine, Newsweek,
Right.
Time magazine, and she was on a lot of national shows. She was on, like the George Global show and all these nationally televised variety shows, which is how my mother knew about her, because my mother would reference Vampira a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, as a kid, and she never saw the show. She was in Massachusetts.
Huh.
Wow.
Danny, I've heard on one hand they said that because it was a local show, her segments weren't taped and there isn't footage of her doing the show. But isn't there something?
There is some.
There is a small amount of footage that survived, and I really have to thank George Pinocchio from Channel 7, who alerted me that it had been dug up. And what it was a promo. It was like a national sales promo for Channel 7, like to advertisers, like, we've got this antenna that sends a signal. So, and this is the stuff so what it was their kinescopes put on film for this film package that they would send out. And that is that's the only footage of her available. But the cool thing about it is because people who only know her from Plan 9, like, that's really not the character at all. That was just,
right.
That's the dress and the wig, but the character was very different.
What was her opinion of the Ed Wood movie?
I think she liked it. I know that Lisa Marie spent a day with her getting ready for the role, and she thought she was really sweet. She really liked her, and I think she liked it a lot.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, certainly does well by her.
Right. Yeah.
So there are some things I notice when I go over to your house around Halloween, Dana. First of all, you have a wonderful garage museum of your treasures, which I enjoy. But then you always do up your house. And I'm just curious, do you do that personally? You put up the decorations?
That's the whole point.
Sure.
That's what I wanted to hear.
And my kids have Dad, not until September 15th. Not until September 15th. And then this year I was like, on the 14th, I go to my daughter, I go, you know what tomorrow is? She just looked at me and she goes, you can't do it till the 20th. Like, she tried to buy 5 minutes.
Oh,
It's like the roles have been reversed. It's like
Yeah, don't gaslight me here.
But it's funny because my daughter can't wait to start setting stuff up. We got to do the lights and the motion. She's always pestering me to try to do it early. In fact, she's actually
How old is your daughter?
She's 19.
Oh, great!
And she told me that if she could, she'd keep it up all year round. And I go, yeah.
Right.
But we can't do that. So it does.
She's also kind of Halloween incarnate.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
thanks to her dad.
Yeah.
My kids are not.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, but do your kids, they still get the whole thing of, hey, I'm going to dress up, I'm going to go trick or treating, and
well, I only have my youngest is in 10th grade, and then the other two are in college. So whatever they're doing, I'm sure has very little to do with sobriety. And,
okay, but wait a minute. Okay, but this is okay. But Dana, you're from a large family, right?
I am.
Okay. So when you were a kid, did your parents buy you a costume, or did you have to make it, or was it?
I had some Ben. I had some Ben Coopers, and then my mother made me a Wolfman mask one year that I would give my eye teeth to still have. She had she bought one of those. Remember those? It was just like a face. It was like a regular.
Right.
Ben Cooper mask, but it was just like a face. It was a little like the guy. It was kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then she painted the nose brown with nail polish, and then cut up the collar of like a fake fur coat and glued that on the face.
Wow.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Pretty great. It was pretty great. She was a fun lady. And somebody who listened to my podcast, I talked about that once, made me a replica of that. And
Oh my God.
Oh, that's
we
great.
became friends. Matt, you might know him. Aaron LaPlante.
I love Aaron.
He did that. That's how I met him.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. I really
He's the
do.
greatest. Yeah.
I think he's a great guy. He also does these miniatures. He does these little miniature displays or products and little tiny
like-
versions of magazines. And
Really?
like Baloo
Yeah.
from the Jungle Book, but a guy. Like,
yes, yeah. No, he's
like no, I don't mean
he's
that
tops.
in a negative way. He's all there's not a negative
no.
cell in the guy's body. He's just so
Nice.
incredibly kind, but he also could break you in half.
You know, if I was going to be broken in half, I would want a lovely,
want it to be
nice
by
person
Aaron,
to do it
Yeah.
Right.
with care.
You know, it's funny, Dana. It's really nice that your mom made that costume. So because I'm from a larger family too, and my parents were just kind of tired, and it was like, just grab something from the closet, kind of a thing. And so I did get a couple Ben Coopers, but most time it was making our own costumes.
Sure.
And there was one year, I don't know if I ever talked about this, but there was one year when I decided I'm gonna be the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I'm gonna make my own costume. And so for months, I was trying to figure out, how do I do it? I couldn't figure out.
That's a hard one compared to the Wolfman.
That is
That's
a
a hard
tough one,
one to do.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
I had this idea about getting lettuce and taping it
no.
around my arm.
I like it.
And
Lettuce from the
Dana,
Black Lagoon.
Look, okay, see now, look, you guys laugh, and you
This
know,
is
look,
funny.
I was a young kid. I was trying to think what looked like scale. I want my scales. to
Yeah,
look
I
real.
can see
thought
that.
If I had,
Right.
leafy lettuce on top of leafy lettuce on top of leaf, and I taped it, with duct tape. But my experiment didn't go very well. First of all, I was cutting off the circulation on my arm, and then the lettuce wouldn't stay, and it would rip. And I'm like, this is stupid. I got all upset, and I couldn't. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be creature, so I'm going to be something else. Godzilla. Yes, I'm going to be Godzilla. And I could not look. I wasn't.
Was it cabbage this time, or
No. I tried to find like some big jackets that I could maybe put paper mache over, but nothing ever worked. So
That's hard too. That's a hard one too. Though. Yeah.
I could just see you as the creature from the Black Lagoon in lettuce, and you want it to be scary, but when it comes off as the boxcar scene in East of Eden.
Yes. And so the funny thing is,
as a kid, you have such complicated costumes, and then I wanted to be desperation. Like how?
So years later, I'm in Hollywood for their big grand Halloween party, and I see this guy in this beautiful, made out of cardboard Godzilla costume, another guy with a mega Godzilla costume, and then I see someone in a creature outfit with, using one of those skin diver suits with like latex and stuff. And I'm like, God, why couldn't I have thought of that? It just didn't hit me. It's like, it's really, really challenging when you're a kid. You're trying to make your own costume.
Yeah. I think we all read Cinemagic at some point.
Oh gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
And Dana, do you remember this magazine?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So you got your Super 8 camera and you want to make a movie, and so I'm going to learn some of the tricks in Cinemagic. And then they're like, okay, now you got to get a kiln to, and I'm like, I'm out. Well, are you kidding? Really?
Now all you need to do is ask your mom to help you melt industrial plastic. Wait a minute.
Right.
Yes.
So what do? You get a circuit board. Oh, no, it's done.
Yeah.
That was like the thing maker. It's like there's no way the
oh
thing
my
maker
God
would be sold today.
I know. Oh my gosh, for sure.
No, and for listeners who don't know what this is, imagine this came out in the 60s because we had one, and it's like this black heater. You plug it in, and it's open. It's open surface. And
Yes.
you're supposed to take
When toys were
this
dangerous.
plastic goop.
You're literally melting plastic at
Yes.
home.
And
Yeah,
you
at
pour
like
this goop
300
Yeah,
degrees.
in your room. What could go
and
wrong?
I can tell you had to have this little container of water, and then you pour the goop in the mold.
Put yourself out.
And then you put it in the heater and you watch it. You can see it heat up and bubble, and then it hardens. And then you're supposed to take it out with these tweezers,
Right.
and then put in the water and go. Psh, and
No adult supervision necessary.
all of my
Yeah,
brothers,
it's
we all
madness.
got burned on the thing. We all got burned
course.
with our fingers.
And this,
But
this is at the same time as like the wood burning kit and chemistry sets. Remember chemistry sets?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
chemistry sets.
That's the good old days.
I
Yeah.
guess they don't make chemistry sets anymore. Now
Yeah,
you
no.
get on the no-fly list if you want to find
Right.
wow, I
right.
didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you pouring that liquid into a travel-sized tube of toothpaste?
Dana, do you have any of those? Do you have any of those little creepy crawlers or those?
I used to have a thing maker, and I don't know where. I again, like I bought it on eBay, and I don't know. I don't think I still have it. I think I might have bequeathed it to Taylor White or something.
Well,
Right.
that's a very Halloween-esque toy.
Yeah.
I
one
do
of my,
I do have right now. I do have the Topper motorized monster maker, which was really the same technology where
Really?
you have these pieces that
Is
you
that the
put
one
onto
with the
this.
dinosaurs were on the cover?
No.
No, it was like there was an ogre, there was a werewolf, there was an
Yeah.
alien, and the one that was really cool was the Mad Doctor who would take his head off.
Oh wow.
And you had these little wind up armatures, and you'd make the skin, the covering,
Again.
just the same way that you would do with the thing maker or creepy crawlers. And you'd put this thing together, and I still have it. And it's just, I turned it on, I plugged it in once, and I'm just like, I'm an adult, and I don't want to be anywhere near this thing. Like it,
Right. Yeah.
Terribly dangerous.
horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had it, but I always wanted the shrunken head thing, the Vincent Price shrunken heads,
Yeah.
which is was apples, right? It was just
Apples.
like,
I have
yeah.
that. I have that in the garage.
really?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is I thought there were like shrunken heads. Well, I thought there were shrunken heads in there, but it wasn't. Isn't it
No,
like chemicals?
yeah.
too?
No,
Like-
it's much more appealing than Vincent Price's rotting apples.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you just get a box full of Vincent Price's garbage.
Yeah. Ooh, kids, it's
That's really
scary.
what it is. Vincent Price's compost.
you
The
know,
compost
Dana,
maker.
Creepy
Spooky.
compost.
you know,
Creepy
Dana,
compost.
let's face
Creepy
it.
compost.
Let's face it. If there was ever a classic horror actor that represented Halloween, it had to have been Vincent Price. Because
Sure.
every time that
Sure.
every time that Halloween would come around, that I remember as a kid, it would be Vincent Price for a game for Staying Alive, or Vincent Price doing something for
Yeah.
a candy, or Vincent
Yeah.
Price.
That's right.
And Dana, the amazing thing about Vincent Price is he could make anything sound like scary, like this air conditioner. Oh, it's he could with his voice.
Yeah.
He just had that amazing voice.
is available at Sears.
No, I remember that. I remember that.
I met Vincent Price when I was in college.
Really?
He came and spoke to my acting class at the University of Massachusetts.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh,
One of the students asked him, a theater major douchebag, was like, "Oh, you say you're a Shakespearean actor, but then you go on the Hollywood squares, and how do you reconcile the two?" And he said, "Everything." I'm paraphrasing, but he said, "Everything I do informs my art."
Yeah, true.
Wow.
Good answer.
Very
yeah.
nice.
I saw an interview with him, and it was you could see it took place in the late '60s. And the interviewer, what he was trying to do, it seemed like he was trying to insult the the schlocky horror films.
Yes.
Sure.
And Vincent Price was so great. He was so well. Those films, are like classics by one of the famous writers, Edgar Allan Poe. And I've always enjoyed. He always said something positive about these things, and he never looked at it as, oh yeah, I'm embarrassed to even associate myself with that.
Here's a great showbiz story that I forgot happened to me until you said that. And then went, wait, that happened to me. When I worked at The Simpsons, sometimes during lunch, I would go down to the Toys R Us at Pico and La Cienega and just look at toys and just get off the lot and, clear my head and look at nerdy stuff. So I had performed at the Saturn Awards one night, and I did my Vincent Price bit. And I'm at Toys R Us about a week or 2 weeks later, and I hear this voice go, "Hey, you're the comedian from the Saturn Awards." And I turn around, and it was Mark Hamill.
Wow.
And I said, "Hi." And he went, "Hi, I'm Mark." And I went, "Yeah, no shit." And he said, "You did that great Vincent Price impression." And then he told me this story. He goes, "I love Vincent Price. My favorite movie was The Tingler. I love The Tingler."
Nice.
And when I met Vincent Price, I told him I love The Tingler. And Vincent Price said, "Wasn't that a marvelous piece of rubbish?" And then he goes, "I've done some crap too. And when everybody ever mentions like something I did that's not that great, like Corvette Summer or what have you, I'll just go, wasn't that a marvelous piece of rubbish?" And it was just like, that's the attitude to have. That's that's doing it right. Yeah, you do stuff, you do other stuff. It all comes out in the wash.
The other thing too is he's a working actor. He's a working actor.
He's a working actor. And the other thing is, like, from my experience with the both of them, they're the nicest guys in the world, which is all I really care about.
Yeah. And The Tingler, by the way, is a perfect Halloween movie.
Oh my God.
Because there's an entire sequence that is like going through a Halloween spooky maze.
Yeah.
But it's also an incredibly meta movie. I mean, it's sort of like the Beast at the Pajama Party. Like there is a movie that was made specifically for spook shows. Like that it's a short movie, and it's something at the Pajama Party. The monster at the Pajama Party.
Yeah, I know it.
And that's The Tingler. Like the Tingler is insanely meta for a movie from 1962 or 63.
And talk about an original concept for a horror film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then broadening that to Vincent Price's other work, especially those Poe films, because when people discuss Roger Corman, you always get that B-movie angle. And no one really gives, I think, as much credit as due to those Poe films, which are gorgeous.
House of Usher is
beautiful.
House of Usher looks like an A-list picture. Like,
Mask of Red Death as well.
Yeah,
Mask of Red Death is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, Mask of Red Death is unbelievable.
It's lavish. It's well acted. It's everything. Speaking of the Tingler to me is like body horror before there was body horror.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
It really is. Like
wow,
a parasite thing that grows in your spine. Like, I mean, it's
sure.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
really
Cronenberg.
I mean, it's nuts. Yeah, no, it's great. And also Castle knew how to genuinely scare and shock you. Still to this day,
literally
the creepy witchy housekeeper that shows up with that is so scary,
terrifying,
horrifying.
Terrifying.
I mean, it's just like, he had the inflatable skeletons flying in a line in the audience, but he also made really scary horror movies.
The skeletons and Emergo and all those gimmicks, people write those off, but I put it in the same category as, look, I'm a Kiss fan. I love Kiss. And what Kiss does isn't something that is simple. They put on a fucking extravaganza.
Do you remember your bit about Kiss?
Well, which one? I don't remember.
They're rock stars And they're monsters.
Right.
Yeah.
What's
They're
not to like?
geniuses.
Yeah, it's made for us.
Right.
You know, and they always say that they wanted to be the band that they always wanted to see. And that's when I look at Castle films, I see the same kind of work ethic where it's
Their
like,
comic
hey,
book was printed with their own blood.
Yes, and that's one I'm still looking for. That's a little hard to get, but
is that your white whale?
A little bit, yes, yeah. I have the follow-up one, but that one doesn't have the blood because I'm planning on cloning them.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know what's one of my white whales is the Ben Cooper Barnabas Collins.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Is that one particularly hard to get or goes for a lot of money?
I've never seen it.
Complete. Yes.
Yeah.
And because remember, this didn't. Dana, do you know the year it came out? It's not.
It had to have been 69 or 70.
That's what I was thinking. I think it was 69 or 70.
That was when that was like Beatlemania.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember when I was thinking back, when I'm looking at pictures of me in kindergarten and first grade with all the other little kids, I didn't see those costumes. I saw like the Dracula and clowns and things like that. But, some superheroes. But the Barnabas Collins I haven't seen. That is a tough costume to get in its box.
And then and then you're talking about the costumes you have as a kid, and then at a certain point it's just like, fuck it, hobo.
Exactly.
Well,
hobo or gypsy.
Very. I had the hobo. I had the hobo costume that was given to me by my neighbors, and it had the red light that would go on the nose because he's a drunk.
That is crazy.
And I thought this thing was so hilarious, and I have really fond memories of it. And then what does Larry Strothe do for me? He, as a present, finds a complete working hobo costume.
Wow.
Dana, I have to tell you something.
He finds a real hobo.
No.
With a light up nose somehow.
Dana, I loved Halloween as a kid. I still love it now. What I want to do, my goal was to try to give my buddies, my co-hosts, Ben Cooper costumes from maybe when they were a kid. Now, for Sean, I knew he loved Buck Rogers. I don't know if he ever had the costume, but I got him a Buck Rogers.
Yes, I have it. We have it displayed on our wall. The
Gil Gerard?
Yes.
And
it says
James,
Buck Rogers on it.
It does. But for James, I got him a Fred Flintstone. It was one of the earliest Fred Flintstones.
That's right.
James, have you set that up at all, or
he wears it every night?
I was gonna wear it on our Hanna-Barbera episode, but I wasn't at home, unfortunately. But no, I still have to set it up. But it's a wonderful gift. Thank you, Larry.
It's just cool how like these crude, bizarre costumes now are like, but like
it got weirder.
Yes, they did.
As they went along. Like that's what I'm hoping they do with NECA. I've said this before, but I hope that by they get to series 10, it's like the Village People, Captain Tennille.
Yes. Wait, do you remember that? And
Jaws was the greatest.
Jaws.
Yes.
Jaws was the greatest. It wasn't a Jaws costume. It was a costume of the Jaws poster.
Right.
Yes. Because for listeners who don't know, the mask was actually, it's like the face of the shark looking up, and your eyes were literally in the mouth of the shark, and then on your shirt, the piece of the body part that you would wear, it doesn't have like a shark body. It just says Jaws.
Well, that was the thing. Like,
that was it, right? Yeah.
Well, that was the thing about any of those costumes. You didn't go as the Hulk. You went as somebody who really liked the Hulk.
Right.
Which is what you were before you bought the costume.
Right. It's like you're wearing a costume of like, I'm going as the Hulk's fan.
Yeah. You might also just have a sign that says, I like the Hulk.
I think now, like in hindsight that maybe they were thinking about the parents. So the parents wouldn't have to ask the kid, well, who are you supposed to be? Because they see it emblazoned on the front of the costume.
That's true.
That's a good theory.
Dana, one of the funniest ones I think is there's a Flipper costume. And the funny thing, so the mask, I was talking to Matt about this. So the mask has the, Flipper kind of looking at an angle. So his lips or his beak is to the right. And so it's like, one eye that is cut through for your eye. And then the other eye is cut
right,
and it's the side of his head. So
That's ridiculous.
But some people go, well, it's his blowhole, but but your eye is looking through.
An eye poking through the blowhole, which then makes it scary.
It makes it horror.
Somebody made, and I don't know if they really made this and took a photo of it or if it was all just digital finesse.
Right.
And I have it somewhere in my phone. It's a Ben Cooper. And we should say a lot of time when we say Ben Cooper, we mean Collegeville.
Collegeville is
Right.
and Ben Cooper is like the most famous one. So yeah.
But it was the Ben Cooper Werner Herzog.
Wow.
I wish.
That has to be.
That can't be real.
Mask of Werner Herzog.
That's
No, but I mean, I don't know if somebody made a fake one and took a photo of it, or if they just digitally.
I'm assuming.
right.
I mean,
That
I
can't
prefer the
be.
Klaus Kinski.
Yeah.
From,
I could see like a whole line of kind of wacky package style fake Ben Cooper Collegeville.
Treating is just the begging of starving children.
Well, I will say this, those masks, we all talk about the masks and the masks that we love. And what is kind of cool is Super 7 did do a series of Ben Cooper-esque boxes.
Yeah, I love that.
It wasn't
great.
the whole costume, it was just a mask. But still, I think they
cool.
did a really nice job they did Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature, and Godzilla and stuff. And they've done
Hedorah. Oh,
yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dana's holding up the Collegeville mask of the Frankenstein. Yeah. Does that glow in the dark too? It looks like it glows in the dark. Yeah.
I guess. And it has the thing, the apron.
The little
right. Yeah, pretty much apron, right.
And I have a photo of myself wearing that mask as a child, but not that exact.
Ah, that is so cool.
Oh, wow.
And those make great those boxes. You can have an entire wall just display.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful.
You know what?
Really
I got one year, and it was when Close Encounters was really popular, and I'm at Universal Studios, and I really love those aliens, and I always wanted to find some sort of merchandise that represented those aliens, and there wasn't a lot, at least that I could find. But one thing they did have at Universal Studios at the store was they had a mask, and it was a mask that you could make. And so you got this kit, you got this kit, and you had to cut out of this like flesh colored spongy material. And it had, and then you would it was two halves, and you glued the two halves together, and you put this thing on. And I'm looking at it, and as I'm putting it together, I'm like, I don't think this is going to come out the way it looks on the box, but and I finally get it on, and it's just like this flesh colored gimp mask,
It's also the Eraserhead costume.
Right.
Oh my God, Matt! I remember that.
You remember that?
I don't remember that.
I do remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You think
quite a disappointment.
It's such a simple design. You think they just make a simple plastic face cover mask? I mean,
I think at the same time, do you guys remember Dick Smith came out with his makeup kits?
I had that. I made one of my Super 8 films. I made a monster.
It's and I think that Close Encounters came out around that same time.
Oh, okay.
That would explain it. Yeah.
It was called Flex Flesh. That was the Dick Smith kit that you mixed it with water, and that was awesome.
It was cool, and they looked good when you put them on. But
no one Google
Flex Flesh. Wasn't that one of your college films, Dana?
If you put into the Google search bar Flex Flesh Dick Smith, you won't get to Smith.
That's true.
No, all of a sudden your computer shuts down.
Times changed.
Knock on the door.
Oh my God, that's funny. But yeah, those are great.
It did work really well, and I remember I had the kit that had, because there was one that had mostly just scars and stuff.
Yeah.
But then there was the other one that had there was a Quasimodo eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the eye would drip lower, and it was really good.
That was in the Monster Makeup Handbook too.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Quasimodo eye. Yeah, I had that.
And it was neat because also, but when you wore the Flex Flesh too long, what would happen is it would just start to melt. It would kind of droop. But for the Quasimodo thing, it made it even scarier.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
The same company put out the one I wanted too. They also put out like an ape one. It was like a Planet of the Apes.
Right.
Yes, I had that.
Did you have that one? I wanted that
I
one
had
so bad. Yeah, because you could be a gorilla or a chimpanzee. Like that was really cool because that was
How
Planet
did
of
that
the
come
Apes.
together?
I
Did it
did
look
that
good?
and then thought, thank God I won't have to dedicate the rest of my life to spending a lot of money trying to look like somebody.
Right.
I'm assuming the actor who plays Dr. Z owns that costume now, right?
He owns he doesn't own the orange costume, but he owns a lot of loungewear.
Right. Well, Dr. Z does dress amazingly for his show, by the way.
Well, for listeners who don't know, what is Dr. Z?
Dr. Z there's a show on YouTube you can watch called Hanging with Dr. Z, and it's basically the talk show that the orangutan actor that played Dr. Zaius, he had a talk show in the 70s. He was just a celebrity. He was like Sammy. He knew everybody. And that was Hanging with Dr. Z is a show. And he pops up. He has a really good, a funny Instagram feed called Hanging with Dr. Z. He'll be doing a live Christmas show at Dynasty Typewriter on December 15th that will be live streaming.
Oh my gosh.
Christmas with a Z.
Nice.
Awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
Well, one of the funniest things, and there's too many funny things to choose from when you're watching Dr. Z. It's when you're going through the episodes. But I remember I went to a taping once, and and there was a segment with Orson Welles.
Oh yeah. Which is on which you can see.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And the actor who played Orson Welles was brilliant. And
Andy Schoenberg.
Yeah, and did the little hesitation when he, like we're doing the wine commercials. He's like, and he does it perfectly.
Yeah,
he does it. It's just so perfect. But then what made it even better was when Dr. Z says, "So you made this movie, The Stranger. And was that a movie that was about when you sit on your hand and you make it numb? So when you masturbate, it feels like somebody else." And and that made me want to live again. Like that was so funny. And then I tried it and it works. So
it does work. Yeah, it does. Well, that's much to the chagrin of all of my representatives. I've dedicated a large swath of my career to just stuff I'd like to see.
Sure, yeah.
The stuff that I put on the shows I'd want to see, and Dr. Z is the best example of that. And then you sometimes you're lucky and you get a real job. But the reason I do Dr. Z because if somebody else did it, I want to murder them.
Right.
If somebody else did Plan 9 Live every Halloween, I would go out of my tree if I wasn't involved.
Well, I mean, it's
like,
perfect.
The same reason you do this.
Well,
sure.
Yeah.
And Larry and I interviewed Dr. Z, and he couldn't have been nicer. He was
yes.
And we brought we reunited him with his co-star Nova.
That's right.
And
we
it was
did.
It was like they were never apart. It was that that chemistry that's just there. You can't fake that.
Nova, it's amazing how a grown woman can forget a restraining order.
Well,
Dr.
all
Z,
she can say is Taylor.
Yeah.
So
hey. He's on his 11th liver. His thorax is the term orgasm of surgery scars is thrown about willy-nilly. He now has a Velcro patch for the new liver.
The other thing that I use, of course I quote it, but I have to share it with strangers, and that is, you cut me open and just a whole lot of wow comes out.
That's you, though.
But
channeling you when I do
so good, so funny.
All glass of yes and a side order.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
that's
well,
Matt Weinhold. Is it Slag Krasty or Matt Weinhold?
That's Slag Krusty.
Okay.
We got to get him out of retirement. We got to get those two
Slag
together.
Krusty and Dr. Z. Slag Krusty should come on Dr. Z.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Nice.
That's something I'd like to
Nice.
see.
I'll get him out.
Absolutely.
I'll hit him up.
Speaking
But,
of Dave Mania.
So I have a question when it comes to classic Halloween parties. First of all, Dana, do you dress up anymore?
I do. I do. My wife is really into it, into that aspect of it. She actually has a lot more Halloween costumes than I do. And
No.
she's really into it. Isn't as into horror movies as much as I am. She'll watch them, but she likes to dress up for parties and such.
Do you do themed couples costumes?
Yeah, but I also don't. I like comfort. I don't.
Yes.
I don't like.
Yes.
I don't want to be Van Gogh's self-portrait
All night.
Right. Had that with a kid. I hate this little sidebar, but I'll get back to the main point. I hate it when parents make their kids' costume about how clever they are. Like some kid with just a black sweatshirt with a bunch of numbers. I'm the deficit. Off the porch. Your parents to give you your childhood back.
Right.
And then one year, my daughter's friend Oliver, his parents made him up as that. He had a painting of Van Gogh, and he was dead. And he couldn't hold a bag, and it was like he did two houses. And I'm dying.
Right.
You're with the wrong crew, Oliver.
Oh, that's sad.
We put the painting in the car, and he just went, and he had a good time.
Right.
But it's just like, think. This, we're going to a Halloween party on Saturday as Sonic the Hedgehog and Tails.
Sonic the Hedgehog is huge. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Sonics, I think, this Halloween for sure.
I am not built unlike Sonic, so it's actually good. It's a pretty good likeness.
I think it's going to be like Sonic, Deadpool, and Terrifier all over.
Terrifier.
Speaking of Terrifier, we were talking about movies earlier in the episode. Isn't it interesting how here we are in the October month, Halloween month, and you have a horror movie as like the number one movie in the country. It's surpassed the other films. I'm ashamed to say I've not yet seen any of the Terrifier films. They're on my list to see, but I just haven't seen them yet. But it's kind of like a phenomenon. I mean,
what is? I have not seen one either. There's two things that have gone into the Terrifier thing. One is it's the failure of the Joker folie à deux that allowed the Terrifier. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's in the way that the failure of the Burt Reynolds vehicle Stroker Ace meant that Paramount had to rush their other movie that they didn't think that wasn't going to get a wide release. Nobody was going to see Stroker Ace, so they pulled it and replaced it with a movie called Airplane. They just said,
is that really?
And that's how Airplane became.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing.
But yet they still made the Ben Cooper Stroker Ace costume.
Along with Hooper.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Smokey and the Bandit, I believe, though.
I'm sure there is. Yeah.
They have a Longest Yard.
Yeah. He wants to be Sharky's machine again.
But going back to Terrifier, it's kind of like it's the whole Friday the 13th thing.
Kind of. I mean,
because these films, some
is it just a collection of kills?
I think it's just there's a very
the first one.
One I've heard, but he started, if I understand that Art the Clown came from an anthology horror film. Called I think it was called All Hallows Eve, and Art the Clown was in one of those segments that was became really popular. Yeah, Art the Clown. So then they made Terrifier, Terrifier 2, and now Terrifier 3, and it's literally like the new Jason. I mean,
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Focus on the Family made the film It's All Hallows Eve, not All Hallows Steve.
Exactly.
Look, I'm not the kind of guy that, hey, I want to go see this horror film that people are saying it's so repulsive because people people have actually left, or maybe you've read in the trades that
that's what makes it so big.
People were vomiting from what they saw
in the Terrifier 3.
Yeah, there's publicity saying that people walked out and it's been banned in the UK.
At the same time, when I was working at a movie theater that was showing Monty Python: The Meaning of Life, I saw people get up and leave too, and got sick from watching that.
I think it's a little different though. I think we're talking
Mr.
about
Creosote,
beheadings and
Yeah, that
guttings
is
and
true.
disembowelments.
true.
Yeah, but hey, to me, all power. Hey, if there's a new slasher film that's causing controversy and making people get all upset, great. I think it's great.
Yeah. Anything to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I'm really getting tired of horror being, dismissed. Even if something is so basic as just being a series of scary kills, at least it's true in what it's trying to be.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. But my take on those, just personally, my take on those is my take on Bruce Springsteen. I appreciate it. I know that it's great, but I don't own any of the albums. It's like, I know it's great, but it doesn't do it for me. I gotta have some kind of story thread. I've got to have some kind of, and preferably a supernatural element to it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's just, that's just me. Have you seen The Substance?
I hear good things. I hear it's kind of Cronenberg-esque kind of body horror stuff. Yeah, I want to see that. Is that Demi Moore in a crazy over the top body horror film? Cool.
Dana, have you seen it?
I've not. No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Larry and I were talking about this. I did finally watch the movie Long Legs.
Oh yeah. How's that? That's on my list.
It's one of those movies. It's Nicolas Cage, and it's one of those movies where it's certainly not a great movie at all. But there are some great things in it. Yeah, it just loses its way entirely.
Okay.
And there are some creepy. Creepy elements in it.
Yes. And Nicolas Cage is wonderful.
He's great. I have a lot of problems with Long Legs. A lot of problems.
I guarantee you, I agree with all of them.
Yeah, logic from the first minute. And I won't go on a rant, but my God, I mean, it took me right out. I couldn't. I
will tell you, I am writing a serious thriller, and it has a very complicated plot, and you have to do two things. You once you construct the plot, you also have to have a story, and they're not the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's hard to write, but I'm so slavishly making sure that I don't leave myself open to any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not a genre that I've written in before, so I don't want to make it. And then you watch these movies, and you're like, well, wait a minute.
Exactly. Like they filmed the very first rough draft of a script.
Yeah. It's like, but how does that, huh?
Yeah, I know.
It's like when we just rewatched the '89 Batman. And so you just let Vicky Vale in the Batcave.
Right.
I've said it many times. The movie just doesn't hold up that well.
No,
it really doesn't.
No.
Somebody said it floats across the screen like an abandoned luxury liner. But I love Returns. I love Returns.
Me too.
Yeah. I will say
more fun.
It's a parody of German Expressionism. It happens to have Batman in it as the fifth lead,
right?
But it's just a parody of German Expressionism, which is really funny. What Dan Waters, who wrote Batman Returns, when the Matt Reeves Batman came out, Dan Waters tweeted, "Wait, he's a detective?"
Yeah, and in that movie, he's an awful detective, by the way. That's the thing. Yeah.
In Batman Returns, Catwoman, anyone that brings back the cat suit in any way is my hero. I discovered who I was the first time I watched an episode of The Avengers with Emma Peel.
Sure.
Right, sure.
And from that day on, it's like a heroin addict. You keep chasing that thrill.
She dies in the movie, and she's brought back to life by cats licking her, and they go,
Yeah,
right. That's right.
Right. It could happen in Germany.
Yeah. And when there's just especially watching it now, because it's so not a Batman movie, which is fine. But like when the penguins are taking the dead penguin, it's like this is.
Yeah, I gotta watch that one again. You're right.
Very moving.
That one's so bizarre.
He's in a giant duck for no particular reason. He's in a giant duck. It's just great. I mean, I love everything about it. It's just
I do too.
A good recent, pretty solid monster horror film, Abigail, is lots of fun.
Yes, I hear Abigail.
It's enjoyable.
Wait a minute, which one? Is that the?
That's the little girl who's the vampire.
Oh,
yeah.
That's one that had some logic things for me.
Hey.
But I will also say though that it was one that is like, there are certain movies that I classify as disposable entertainment.
And that's what it is.
I watch it once.
My manager would call it effective movie product.
And look,
it's got a fun cast, and the little girl Alicia Weir is amazing in that.
Yeah,
she's great. Yeah, it's just fun. Like you're right, Matt. It's kind of disposable horror monster entertainment, but I really enjoy. I really enjoyed it.
The sequel to X, the third one from X.
Oh,
don't spoil it for me because I saw the first two.
Yeah,
I really like.
It's also a girl's name.
Maxine. Yeah,
Maxine. Yeah,
it's X Girl and Maxine.
Yeah, I heard good stuff about Maxine.
Me too. And Pearl.
You have? Okay, good.
Pearl is great.
Yeah,
I do love Pearl.
Pearl is better than X. I thought it's like the director described it perfectly. It's like an old-fashioned Disney movie gone horribly wrong. Yeah. It's beautifully shot. It's really, really good. It's elevated. It's not even really, I mean, it is a slasher movie, but like the first killing doesn't even happen until 45 minutes into the movie, but it is great. And she's amazing. Mia Goth she's great in it.
Right. Which is the one where the girl goes swimming and then they cut to a drone shot of the girl swimming and an alligator?
Yeah, that's the first one. X.
X.
So, it's cool.
And then the alligator, she doesn't even know it. But then it's like Chekhov's alligator. It comes.
Yeah.
If an alligator is introduced, it must come back.
It's a cool concept for a franchise too, because the first one takes place in the 70s. The second one takes place in like 1918. And then because it's a prequel. And then the third one takes place like in 80s Hollywood with Maxine. Right. So, but yeah, so
the next one better take place in the future. That's all I'm saying. On a spaceship.
But I highly recommend the first two, X and Pearl. Really good.
There've been some really good horror films, especially now it's one of the most vibrant genres in filmmaking.
Absolutely,
more than comedy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so many different kinds of horror films. There's kind of something for everybody.
One of the reasons is you can sell them internationally much easier than comedy films because comedy is culturally specific.
Yep.
You can, you get a good horror movie, you can sell that.
Well, Project Greenlight, we remember how that thing went. Sure. The first two installments were these heartfelt indie films, and then both of them were a gigantic bomb.
Mm.
And then finally they do Feast with the third one, and they make, what is it, 3-4 sequels?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
My oldest daughter became a horror movie fan once she went to college. Like, she wasn't a horror movie fan here really, but once she went to college, she did. And when she came back, we saw Thanksgiving, and we were walking out of Thanksgiving, and she just went, "Okay, Dad, what were your favorite kills?" It's like, what?
Is that Dana? Is that good? Because that's kind of like Eli Roth's take on slashers, right?
That's exactly what you think it is. Yeah, I mean, it's his take on slashers, meaning it's a slasher film.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. His unique vision.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fine.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
Utterly entertaining.
Cool. Cool.
It keeps coming up on Pluto TV that I've now watched 3-4 times in sections. And I love this movie, is Only Lovers Left Alive, the Jim Jarmusch vampire film.
I have not seen this.
I don't know it. No.
It's really good. And it's
Only Lovers Left Alive?
Yes. And it's Kate Blanchett and Tom Hiddleston. There are these vampires, and John Hurt's in it too. And there are these vampires who are pretty world weary, especially Tom Hiddleston. He's suicidal, so Kate Blanchett comes and visits him and tries to cheer him up. But a lot of things go wrong. He's a musician that he's been so influential, but yet he hides out because if anybody sees him, they'll realize he's not aging.
Right.
And it's a slow moving film, but that really aids it because it gets into the world weary tediousness of life and trying to climb out from that and being pulled back, and then maybe that changing again. And I don't want to give away too much, but it's a smart, well-made, well-acted film, and a nice, fresh take on the vampire genre.
Oh, great.
Cool.
We were talking, Matt and I were talking the other day about just like, your favorite horror movies and stuff like this. Just speaking of vampire movies. And this was on Svengoolie about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And that movie comes on and I have it on DVD. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it in every form. The Night Stalker TV movie comes on from 1972 and I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what it is about. Clearly it is very connected to the fact that I saw it when it premiered. And it scared the daylights out of me as a kid. But there's something, it moves like a freight train.
Yes.
And what I love about it is the first 2/3 of the movie, it's a vampire movie in which everybody goes, yeah, but vampires aren't real. Yeah, but vampires aren't real. And you talk about vampire movies. Yeah, like Dracula. I know what you're talking about. Because it places it in reality. That was what was brilliant in An American Werewolf in London when they're talking about werewolf movies.
Yeah.
When they confuse the Wolfman with Curse of the Werewolf. Like, no, that was Oliver Reed. You're talking about Lon Chaney Jr.
Right. Yeah.
But that puts it into reality in such a great way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then the connection between those two movies, I think for me, is that, you got Kolchak, who is an oddball and he's funny. There's a quirky, funny quality to him.
Yeah.
And that humor is intentional. And the same thing with American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
You have the two main characters. Somebody asked Landis why it was funny, why they were humorous characters. He goes, because I wanted to be realistic.
Right.
And that's what people do. Humor is a defense mechanism against these horrible events. And I mean, Kolchak has that all over the place, all the way through the series.
And that's the thing that I stole when I did Stand Against Evil, which is the reason those two things work is because they're not comedies. They're funny.
Right.
And they're funny because the people are in a horror movie, but they don't know they're in a horror movie.
Right.
And they're behaving normally. And all you have to do is behave normally. And then this heightened reality will make it funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the way you do it. The monsters can't know they're in a comedy. And then What We Do in the Shadows came on to prove me completely wrong.
Well, different.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
Oh no, 100%. But it helps if you're brilliant.
Yes. They make it work.
Yeah.
Really.
I also think the mockumentary or the documentary, whatever you want to call it, I think that really helps it as well.
Because I'm going to tell you something that ain't funny. The Munsters.
Oh, the most recent incarnation of the
show.
Monsters.
The show.
I enjoy it.
I enjoy it for its homage to classic Universal films.
Yeah.
Right.
And I enjoy Fred Gwynne.
What it was. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying it's not funny. I don't remember laughing like there's a clever satire in it. But it was a parody of the Donna Reed show.
Was it?
Oh yeah, I could see that.
The Donna Reed show's opening credits was Donna Reed standing by her front door as her husband and children came downstairs.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Lunch, and they went off to work. And so
That's
it was
really funny.
So it was the Universal Monsters parodying a show. So the reason that the Monsters doesn't work, the most recent movie, is because it's parodying something that you have no relationship to.
Right.
If you took those monsters and put them into Friends or whatever is a current thing,
sure,
right,
it would work.
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Yeah. That's one of the many things that are wrong with the Monsters movie, the new Monsters movie.
I will argue that the team of Herman and Grandpa, their repartee between each other, Fred Gwynne, I think, is funny.
He's great.
But it's not the writing, it's him.
If it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not crapping on the show. I was just like that it out of context, the thing that made it funny, people don't know.
Yeah.
This was a parody of a very popular TV show at the time.
I wonder if at the time it was out too, people got that more.
Oh no,
you know?
100% they did. It was,
Yeah.
Well, and that's why
comparatively-
maybe I have a little bit more of appreciation for it because, you know, like you, Dana, what you do with the Night Stalker movie, I do with the Donna Reed show. Like I put that on
and
and I'm suddenly young again. And I'm, you know, sending my husband off to work.
Wow. Wow. That's just amazing.
Dana, as far as Halloween goes, do you guys get a lot of trick-or-treaters coming by your house?
Not where I live. I always decorate and I leave out candy, but we don't really get a lot because I'm up in the hills a little bit.
Right.
But we go down to, my friend lives in Colfax Meadows, which is just like ground zero. And it's
cool.
It's always great.
That's cool. Yeah, we don't get too many trick-or-treaters these days. But it's weird because I think I've read that like trick-or-treating with little kids is kind of not as popular, but yet the season and the celebrating of Halloween is bigger than ever, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
party.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, I only can speak for like where I've gone. Like Colfax Meadows is hopping.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Cool.
old neighborhood in Studio City is always, you know, and people do the decorations to the hilt and it's fantastic. But I do have a question about the old school Halloween party. Do we know, is there any kind of historical backing for, did anyone ever bob for apples?
In
And-
real life.
Yeah. I mean, that had to have stopped at the 1800s because I can't imagine a kid like, yay, I got an apple.
And after other kids have been dunking their faces
Yeah.
into it.
Oh,
Like
put
that-
your face in this as well.
Yeah.
This is how COVID started.
Right.
I have an old timey Halloween question. It goes back to the Great Pumpkin, how we started. Lucy wakes up in the middle of the night, goes into Linus's room, and he's not in bed, so she goes out and finds him sound asleep in a field. Where are the parents?
They hate their children. They really do.
They
The
really-
entire town.
Parents
Absentee
are
children.
aliens that really do speak in that language.
yeah.
They don't
Right.
understand the children at all.
Oh my
But there
God.
is, I mean, I love that so much, but it is, you look at it today, it's like the psychotic cruelty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
Not
bizarre.
only of the parents giving one kid, let's all give one kid a rock. Let's all create a future serial killer. And just the way Lucy
Yeah.
and everybody else talks to Charlie Brown is like, you cannot do that today.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
true. True.
And I do wonder how you cut so many eye holes in a sheet. Like how don't you just do two and kind of widen them and make it work?
Just can't
Right.
stop stabbing.
I was watching Mad Monster Party again recently.
Oh yeah.
And there's always that one scene that I forget that is in there because it's one of those ones. I think I recommended this to Danielle Koenig years ago to watch with her kid, and they watched it, and then she brought up that scene where Francesca is getting hysterical and she gets slapped. Hey, snap out of it!
Yeah.
And then after she gets slapped, she's even more into whatever his name was. I forget.
Yeah, it's turned on.
Yeah.
Felix.
Felix Plankton.
Felix. Felix. Thank you.
That was one of the giant holdovers from film noir. And the
Yeah,
movie, like,
yeah.
If a woman doesn't like you, you just have to slap her.
Yeah.
Plus, there's that cat fight between Francesca and Phyllis Diller, and Francesca's like
Right.
dress is torn off, and she's
Well, that's fine.
yeah, I know, but it's a kid.
Kids like two things: Halloween, Phyllis Diller.
Make the
They're
movie.
different.
Her husband's name is Fang. It's easy. Writes itself.
Well, this has been great. This has
It
been
has
awesome.
been.
This has been
Yes.
awesome and spooky.
And spooky and scary, yet fun and
Yes.
flavorful.
Halloween-y like.
All the words that I used to describe Dana Gould.
Oh, stop it. Here's a Halloween thing that'll bring back some memories. I'm sure everybody's listening to this. Most people who are listening to this are gonna have some candy in the house for trick or treat. You put that candy in a pillowcase
Mhm.
or in a little hollow blow mold pumpkin. And
Yeah.
then you put your head in there, you close your eyes, and you take some deep breaths, And that smell will bring it all back.
Yes.
That's true.
Oh, you know what they're doing for Snickers now for Halloween?
What?
No.
They're making the nougat green. They're making it green colored for
Oh, that's-
Halloween.
that's
Is that
cool.
awesome? It
Yeah.
tastes the same. But I
Now with
I love
chemicals.
Does it?
when vendors do something like that.
You'd think something as all
Well,
natural as nougat wouldn't be able to.
And isn't it? It's actually a really good way to get rid of spoiled Snickers.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Right.
also a candy. There's a tie-in to Wicked, the movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
That's something like marshmallow fluff that's green or something like
Really?
that.
Nice. Oh well.
Just a quick thing about candy too. The one candy that I don't really like, I don't like candies. You know, like you ever see like the hamburger that's made of the like gummy.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't want my candy to look like another food.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I just no, I don't want a chicken leg. I want a chicken leg to be a chicken leg. If you could make a tiny chicken leg and make it fun size, that would be great.
You know what Halloween candy I can't find, they don't do it anymore, but I loved was the orange wax harmonica.
Yeah.
Oh,
I vaguely remember that.
You can
Yeah.
play it. It
That's
works.
right.
And it had
Yeah.
that taste and that smell to it.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a obscure one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to give. I'm going to give. Everything's going to be wax treats this year. All wax.
Well, Dana, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
This was great.
And Dana, if you have anything that you're plugging, please.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
On November 7th, 8th, and 9th, I will be at the Punchline in beautiful San Francisco, California.
Hey.
November 14th, 15th, and 16th, I will be at the Laughing Tap in beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Nice.
And on December 7th, good old Dr. Z will be at GalaxyCon
Cool.
in some American city.
Wow. Wow.
Whichever GalaxyCon is on December 7th. Columbus, Ohio. Columbus,
Ohio.
Oh,
All right.
my
They
God.
finally they made the decision just now. We're having it in Columbus.
And on December 15th, he will be in Los Angeles at Dynasty Typer.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well,
Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta check it out. But always a pleasure to have you, and thanks for making the time. And let's raise our glasses and give a
Yes.
toast to Halloween hijinks and Dana Gould.
Happy Samhain. It's pronounced Samhain.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out!
Shout out hijinks.
Trick or shout out!
This goes out to Walt Masters in Utica, Ohio. Walt is now the proud owner of a Monster Party t-shirt that he bought from our eBay store.
Cool.
Oh,
Awesome.
Wow. He's going to
Maybe,
look great.
maybe Walt will wear it trick-or-treating.
He's going to like
That's
the way
right.
he looks.
Yeah.
Because it does
Kids,
glow in
kids
the
can
dark.
go. Yeah, kids can go as us for Halloween. I'm Matt. I'm Larry.
Really?
We'd like a costume that says Larry on it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool.
That'd be a funny t-shirt to make, actually, which is just
Yeah.
us as if we were a Ben Cooper.
Yeah. Yes.
That'd be funny. I
Well,
love
Walt,
it.
thank you. Thank you for your purchase. Thanks for listening and thanks for supporting. We really appreciate it. And
We do.
Matt, I think you have one as well.
I do. I have a shout out that goes out to friend of the show, past guest from the Tonight Show, Mark Pitta.
All right.
Mark.
Mark Pitta sent me out of the blue a present of a rubber ducky, your classic rubber ducky, but it looks like Pennywise from It.
No.
And
No.
it came out of nowhere, and we opened the box and we just started laughing because to the person who has everything,
Right.
I didn't have that. And so, of course, I immediately run to the bathtub. And I didn't want to get out. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if the suds had subsided. I was like, no, I'm staying.
They all float down here.
Yeah. And then what I tried to do is I tried to have him peeking out of the drain and speaking to me. Hey,
Nice.
Matt, take another bath.
And you
Awesome.
said,
So-
I'm too wrinkly. I can't get back.
But Mark, thank you so much. And again, we love presents, but especially I do.
Yeah,
I do. I really like it when you send only me something because he's my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna
damn
say
it.
thanks. Well, no, he's he likes us all.
Yes, he
I
does, he
was gonna
does.
say thanks, Mark. I'm sure our ducks are coming in the mail sometime soon, I guess.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Mark, seriously, don't for a minute think you have to buy the rest of
Yes.
them.
No,
ducks.
no. I'm just I joke. It's
He does. You're a jokester.
Does he?
You're
I'm like-
Mr. Jokester.
I'm a
Yeah.
little trick or treater,
That's what he is.
Yeah, that's what you are.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark, and keep them coming.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Now, as mentioned, you can still buy Monster Party merch from our eBay store, which is called Monster Party Store on eBay. Yes, there are t-shirts with the glow-in-the-dark Monster Party logo and the Kaiju logo designed by Derek Robertson.
That's right.
There's the Monster Party shot glass, so you can join us in
Oh,
raising
yeah.
a glass to our guests at the end of every show. There's the
Mhm.
Monster Party PPE cloth mask. And, of course, last but not least, the legendary Monster Party ball cap, embroidered with more stitches than I can even mention.
That's
Yeah.
right.
If you want to
Yeah.
find these items, you can find them on eBay on our vendor page, which is Monster Party Store. If you also happen to be a Patreon supporter of Monster Party, we will throw in free surprise goodies if you purchase merch. Goodies courtesy of our friends Jason Lindsay at Biff Bang Pow Toys and foam fabber extraordinaire Ted Haynes.
You know, those are two good eggs, but please don't throw them at my house.
So Patreon, it's the Halloween season, and my head is full of visions of costumes and candy, and somehow I just completely forgot what this Patreon thing is supposed to be. So,
That's the
Matt-
trick. See?
well, Matt, treat me then with a reminder of what this Patreon thing is.
Oh, I will. Well, unlike the stale air you suck through the microscopic mouth hole in a Ben Cooper mask, Patreon is like a breath of fresh air that fills your lungs with bonus Monster Party content. We're talking exclusive audio episodes and our special shows like Monster Party Masterpieces, our Toy Time shows, and our new segment, Monster Party on the Road. Yeah. There's also our behind-the-scenes convention footage, our famous Japan trip video diary, and vintage horror and sci-fi collections edited by our resident Lyscarian, John Bordeaux.
Wow, that is a bag full of treats indeed, Matt. But I got to say, I'm saving up my pennies for some of those NECA Ben Cooper figures, and they're kind of expensive. I don't
Yes,
know if
they
I can
are.
afford.
They
I don't know
are.
if I can afford this bounty. How much does it cost?
Well, for the price I would charge you to go through the haunted maze I've erected in my crawl space, you could become a Monster Party patron. And that price is $5. $5 a month.
What?
That's impressive. I mean, you can't get a custom two-sided Ben Cooper Zardoz mask for that price.
That's for sure. Wow.
Why
well,
didn't they
that's a-
make that?
I don't know.
Well, that is a bargain I can't pass up. How would one join?
Well, all you have to do is you go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click join, you follow the instructions, and next thing you know, you'll be as happy as a vampire in a coffin full of Tempur-Pedic memory dirt.
Well, speaking of memory dirt, we are on social media. We are on Facebook at Monster Party TV, YouTube at Monster Party TV, Twitter at Monster Party HQ, also Instagram at Monster Party HQ. And hey, we would love to hear your thoughts, your reviews. So wherever you're listening to us from, please take a moment, reach out to us, let us know your thoughts. We would love, for instance, a review on iTunes. Those are always great. And wherever we hear your reviews, we will read them on the air.
Yes, and we won't just read it on the air. We'll hand it out as a treat on Halloween because who wants a fun-sized Three Musketeers bar when you can read about a podcast hosted by 4 hot middle-aged dudes who collect action figures?
Bingo.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And have a happy Halloween.
Ooh. And if you're mad because you got a candy bar with some green nougat, think about the boy who got a wax harmonica.
There are videos on YouTube of people getting earwax pulled out of their ears, and it's profoundly satisfying.
It is. And to anyone who has had it done, it is very pleasing when after it's all done, they show it to you.
Yeah. I know.
Well, how much earwax can you have in your ear, really?
I've had snakes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like full on, Rathacon bugs.
Wow. No.
Yeah.
No, that's nasty.
It is nasty, but I couldn't hear anymore. And I always get it in my left ear too, Shawn.
Yes. Isn't that weird? I don't know why.
Weird.
Well, it's very Halloweeny-esque too.
Spooky earwax.
We're using what was left of my daughters to polish the car.
Well, why don't we, since Dana has limited time here, why don't we get right to it? But
Yeah,
no, not a
unfortunately,
problem
I'm
at
being a drag.
all. We are going to have a great time.
All right.
I'm already having a great time. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm elated.
All right.
You're Mr. Good Time.
I am. You know what? A lot of people call me that, Mr. Good Time. Yeah, especially in Indonesia.
Looking for Mr. Good Time.
There he is.
Wait,
there he is.
Wait. Seriously though, but when you're walking down the street in Indonesia, don't all the people say, "Hey, Mr. Good Time"? Don't they say that?
I know. Yes.
All
Like Saturday Night Fever when you're strutting down the street.
That's why I'm not allowed back there anymore.
I would just
Saturday
like
Night
to
Fever. Yeah.
I would just like to say, having been in a car all day with a 15-year-old girl and listening to her playlist, I'm so glad to not be listening to a sad, whispering girl who's heartbroken.
Yeah.
Every fucking song.
Well,
Right, hang
I
on.
mean,
I'm going to put
what
my
are the
dog out.
kids?
I'm going to put my
Okay.
dog out because she's going to do this all day.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'm curious. What are the kids listening to today? What's the rock
I
and
have,
roll?
you know what? I finally reached that area in my life where I just don't care anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I know.
I watch the Grammys and I have no idea. Unless they bring out like Bruce Springsteen to duet with somebody or Tony Bennett, I'm lost. I have no idea.
Yeah.
What are the Grammys?
Oh, come on, people. The Grammys.
I used to
Hello.
watch that. I knew who they were. It's like, all right. I
Yeah.
know the record. I have the CD.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they're all winning awards, though.
The last time I watched the Grammys, I think they were honoring Edison Lighthouse.
No, I'm curious. Dana, what are the kids? What are the kids listening to? What's the happening thing?
Well,
is it
it goes
all Taylor Swift or?
It's Taylor Swift, and
Yeah.
you get your Gracie Abrams. And every song is this. Every song is this. And then she's J.J. Abrams' daughter, so she had it tough.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm rooting for her, though.
And then you go to your Olivia Rodrigo, which vacillates from that everything is hard. It's like there's Olivia Rodrigo's breakup in 2018, October 7th, 9/11, the Holocaust. In terms of trauma.
Wow.
Right.
That's heavy.
Yeah. And then you get Taylor, who I think is in a rut.
Hmm.
And then
A successful rut, sir.
Successful
rut.
But she's released the same album 4 times now. I do think Chapel Roan is very good.
Okay.
And she actually writes songs that are, I like a banger occasionally. I don't like, not everything is just sad. Everything is sad.
Well, we're going to shake things up tonight.
Yeah.
Because you may have been sad, but we're gonna have some fun, exciting Halloween fun and excitement.
In the words of Bret Michaels, ain't looking for nothing but a good time.
Let's do it.
I saw some video today of Kiss on the Paul Lynde Halloween special from 1978.
I have that on DVD. Yeah, it's amazing.
And if you had to sum up a decade in one television special,
yeah, pretty much.
Well, at least Kiss was there to save it.
Yeah,
Dana,
because the rest of that show is tough going.
It's all tough going.
Isn't Witchy Poo in that too? I think Witchy Poo's in it, right?
So,
right.
We want to keep it lively.
No, you want to keep it. You want to keep it upbeat.
Okay,
well,
and you're an upbeat dude. You're like,
I try.
You're Mr. Upbeat.
I was given the full soundtrack of the Great Pumpkin.
Oh,
cool.
And those music cues have a Proustian ability to. They don't really put me back to where I was when I watched it originally, but to where I wish I was when I watched it originally.
Yeah.
There are only a couple things from that bring you back to just the good stuff.
Yeah. I do remember you always talking about, and I always felt this when I watched that special, which was how the adults in that neighborhood were just really awful people, cruel, and they gave people rocks.
Okay, and this is great, but we should save.
Let's do it. We're going to do it.
Okay.
Oh, I thought this was the show. Oh, hang on a minute. I know what she wants. Hang on.
The Halloween dog. Dana is it looks like he's giving a treat to his dog. Or no, he's making a spot on the chair for his dog.
For the Halloween dog.
Right.
He's chasing the dog with a thing maker.
It's time for her walk, but no, it's time for her walk and she's annoyed, but she's going to have to deal. At a certain point, you'll see her climb up in that chair. And,
nice.
Frustration.
And if you happen to get a candy bar with some green nougat, think about the boy who has a fucker. What did I say? Think about that.
Think of boy who got the wax
harmonica.
Oh, remember the boy who
remember the boy. Is that what it was? Remember
or think about. Either one could work.
Remember. Yeah. Okay. Let me try that again.
Remember.
Okay. Just from there. Just from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And if you happen to get a candy bar with some green nougat, remember the boy with the. Wait a minute. Remember
the boy
who got.
Think about
who got it, because he got that as candy. That was given to him for trick or treating.
Think about the boy.
I think about good. Think about the boy who got.
I think
about the poor boy.
Yeah, because I think what's not working for me is that I need to have it. And if you're upset that you got
the green.
There,
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. And if you're upset because you got a candy bar with some green nougat, think about the boy with the
who got.
Think about the boy who got. That's right.
Yeah.
Who got the wax harmonica.
Wax harmonica. Here we go. And if you're mad because you got a candy bar with some green nougat, think about the boy who got the wax harmonica. Let me do one more.
Should it be sadder?
Sadder.
About the boy who got the wax harmonica.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is it like?
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Yeah.
Like you got a rock. You got a rock.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. And if you're mad because you got a candy bar with some green nougat, think about the boy who got a wax harmonica. Huh?
Nice.
No, you didn't like that one, Larry?
Yeah.
No, I did. I did like that one.
That's great. It's good.
Diminishing returns from there.
I gotta tell you, if I got a wax,
And if you're
harmonica,
waxed about the harmonica who got the green nugget, think about a boy.
I would have hated the like if you get a wax thing. Why not wax vampire teeth? Why not a wax tongue?
Because remember the regular woman's lips? That was stupid.
A harmonica's not Halloweeny.
Yeah, but it's fun though. You get to
you go around
music.
Halloween going.
You can
hey,
do
guys,
something. You could play a scary song.
No, with a harmonica.
You could do the Halloween theme.
Or the psycho.
No, the only way it would be scary is if you're in the backwoods somewhere and someone goes or something like that.
That would be pretty scary, actually.
Where's the Ben Cooper Deliverance costume? The Ned Beatty.
No.
With a picture of a banjo on the.
No. I think a picture of a
Ned
pig.
Beatty. Yeah. Right. There should be a whole line of artwork of parody of Ben Cooper, and inappropriate Ben Cooper costumes.
Yes,
The human centipede costume. You get 3 different ones. You stand together.
Oh my God!
Sean, that should work.
Sean, what would the face? What would the face be?
I don't know. It should say human centipede on it.
Yes, but okay. Let's say so. Your shirt says human centipede, and it's got the thing on the poster where it's a silhouette. But what is the face mask? What is it? Someone just going with
somebody's ass.
Like this? Oh yeah.
You did it. You did it. That's it.
No.
That'd be awesome. That's awesome.
I'm sorry. That's dumb.
I've already. You know what? I already got the meeting, and they've already greenlit it.
They're designing it.
Still that alien one. I remember
so
seeing
cool.
that, but I remember being so upset that there was a second alien costume that came out, which had more. There were 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Came out just had the picture of the alien's head on the shirt with yellow bright things around it. The second one actually had a rib cage.
Okay.
Rib cage on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I like the dumber one though.
Well, that's the funny thing. The one that everybody wants is that one. The first one.
Because it's just so bizarre and random.
There's one up on eBay right now.
Really? An original?
It's like $200 or something. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Good times.